All right, this is very important with what's going on with the false media narrative with Roger Stones, and really what is happening behind the scenes that they're not talking about. They always make these false flag things stand out when something else is really going on that needs to be looked at every time without exception.
Might try something. We know that this was a setup. The question is by who? And what was the real motivation behind the arrest? Everything you're watching is not always what it seems. It's a show. That's what we're watching right now. Trump tweeted out the following. CBS reports that in the Roger Stone indictment, data was released during the 2016 election to damage Hillary Clinton. Oh, really? What about the fake and unverified dossier? A total phony con job that was paid for by crooked Hillary to damage me and the Trump campaign. What about all of the one-sided fake media coverage? This is in brackets. Collusion with crooked H that I had to endure during my very successful presidential campaign. What about the now revealed bias by Facebook and many others? Roger Stone didn't even work for me anywhere near the election. Well, let's take this line where Trump says about all the one-sided fake media coverage, collusion with crooked H. Let's go back to post 1515. Now, this was back in June.
This was June 16, 2018. And we see that all these people are listed in the major media networks, ABC, AP, etc. And reporters are listed. And they all get their orders from the CIA and for the elite media groups. So you can see them, April Ryan, they're all listed there.
June 16, 2018, where Q gave us this diagram of all.
And this is a Q diagram too. So I mean, this stuff is amazing what they are working with and doing. Just, it is mind-blowing.
The news media and all the personnel, named all the personnel who basically got their information from the deep state. And under this diagram, it says, these reporters at networks have been named in the WikiLeaks to have colluded with the DNC or Hillary campaign during the 2016 election cycle.
So this is what is highlighted. It said these reporters and networks have been named in WikiLeaks and have been colluding with the Democratic National Committee or Hillary campaign during the 2016 election. So they're already part of this, and they already know this, and there's going to be indictments on all this stuff.
Cycle. I wonder what Roger Stone has on Hillary and the DNC with WikiLeaks. But let's continue. So CNN was the only news source that was tipped off. The question we need to ask ourselves is why? The deep state needed a distraction, and they needed to show something dramatic. They needed to change the narrative, but this will be short-lived.
Now again, remember their play of hand. They always use this distraction to cover up something else that's going on, without exception.
What if the White Hats leaked fake info and put all of this into motion? This is coming out of the Gateway Pundit. Think about this for a sec. Roger Stone was arrested early in the morning, as the FBI always does. Another American attacked by the mobsters in the deep state due to his relationship with the president. But there is something more than coincidental about.
What's weird is, how come CNN is right there early in the morning with the FBI? Think about that. Think about that. This is collusion, and this is controlled media and controlled narrative staged staged as breaking news. But what a bunch of fools we are.
About this arrest. Not only was CNN there to film the arrest, proving again that Mueller mobsters are colluding with the members of the deep state and corrupt media, but there is something more. There is always something that is breaking related to the corrupt deep state whenever they attempt to change the news cycle. And this time, it's not any different. Over the past couple of days, the testimony of former FBI General Counsel James Baker was released. Baker resigned, and he too was a crook and involved in the deep state efforts to...
So I never trusted James Baker. He was always so shady. So there he is. He's colluding with the DNC. And he's going to get his upcomings too. They already know this. Trump and the military intelligence already know this. It's already, and so does WikiLeaks. I mean, this is all the opposition out there. It's all going to come up in trials.
Aid Hillary Clinton in her bid to become president and their attempted coup to remove President Trump after he defeated Hillary in the 2016 election. What Baker said was shocking, especially his testimony surrounding this missing corrupt FBI agent, Joseph Pienka. According to
this missing FBI agent. So what did this agent have on Hillary? And why did he come up missing? Remember, they've killed over 60 people that we have record of. And they're still not in the pen. Think about that. Some people say it's as high as 70.
Brian Cates, the Epoch Times. The Baker testimony was explosive. Baker stated that the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court was not alerted to the fact that much of the information in the surveillance warrant on Trump campaign foreign policy advisor Carter Page was being provided by paid political propagandists employed by the Hillary Clinton campaign. You're receiving Trump-Russia collusion propaganda from opposition research firm Fusion.
Fusion was involved with this again, and Page was in on it again. It all comes back to this GPS and the corporation that Hillary has set up again and again.
GPS and Christopher Steele, who had been hired by Fusion GPS on behalf of the Clinton campaign and DNC, the FBI established a back channel through former Associate Deputy Attorney General Bruce Orr at the Department of Justice. After every meeting with Steele, Orr would sit down for an interview with the FBI Special Agent Joseph Pienka, who would fill out official FD 302 interview forms to pass on the information within the FBI. Now, according to Cates, it seems something spooked the Spygate plotters into presenting the appearance of drawing back from Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS while still surreptitiously using the political propaganda shop as a source for their ongoing investigations. This back channel allowed the FBI to hide Fusion GPS's and the Clintons' campaign role in providing much of the evidence being used to drive these political motivated investigations of Trump and his associates. This means it's highly likely that when Bruce Orr personal notes from his meeting with Fusion GPS are compared with the official FD 302 interview forms that Agent Pienka filled out following his interviews with Orr, they are not going to match when it comes to what the stated source was for the Trump-Russia information. Cates tweeted the point from his article where he states that Pienka is involved in two major scandals involving Trump. Russia collusion sham, these phony 302s he took from his discussion with Orr was one. Pienka was also the agent, along with the very corrupt and now fired FBI agent Peter Strzok, who ambushed General Michael Flynn at the White House, which led to reports Flynn lied to the FBI. This is his tweet. Pienka has now been revealed to be at the center of the beating heart of not just one big scandal in the FBI, but two. One, General Flynn prosecution, and two, the secret Fusion GPS FBI back channel. Of course, they got him under oath on both of these. Pienka has some very damaging goods on the entire Russia collusion sham, which may all be connected to Uranium One, the Iran deal, and other real Russia collusion actions taken by the Obama White House. This is why he was not interviewed by Congress, because they all know the Dems would leak and mislead any information from these investigations. So now let's go back to BuzzFeed for a minute and the article that they ran that was completely fake, phony, and false. And we're going to start to put all this together here. The questions we need to ask is, how does the mainstream media get their information? Leaks? Well, leaks from who? The deep state, those in the House and Senate, the intelligence organizations. But who's in control? The patriots. So you might have noticed that the DNC media complex, the number of overhyped Trump-Russia collusion bombshells that get published are coming faster and faster now. And they quickly blow up and fall apart within just a few days. And it's kind of weird. All of a sudden they have this bombshell, and then people start to rip it apart, and they find out, wait a minute, this is all fake. Remember, the mainstream media reporters, they don't have to produce any evidence themselves for their stories before they go public. So, again, where do they get information? Well, from leaks. Leaks from who? The deep state, those in the House and Senate, the intelligence organizations. But who's in control? The patriots. Hold that in a separate part of your brain right now. Let's continue here. It's often the case that these reporters don't even need to see any evidence themselves before publishing a story. All they need are anonymous sources who make a claim they saw something. The mere claim from a few anonymous sources is now enough to launch stories containing explosive accusations that come to dominate a daily or weekly news cycle before they are exposed as being fake. This brings us to the latest media fiasco. BuzzFeed, the fake news report that the special counsel had documentary evidence proving that Trump directed his then lawyer Michael Cohen to lie to the Congress about a deal to build Trump Tower in Moscow. Remember, BuzzFeed reporters Jason Leopold and Anthony Cormier, the story quickly took off on publication and dominated the national news for the entire day. Then it all fell apart. The question is why? What happened? The leaks that are coming out now, and you see all these stories, and they say they have these bombshells and they fall apart. This is being done on purpose by the White Hats. They are leaking this information to certain individuals in the House, in the Senate, and in certain intelligence organizations. And what happens with this information? It is quickly published without the reporters seeing anything. This is all being done on purpose because they believe the leakers. But who's feeding the leakers? The White Hats. It's being done on purpose to trap the mainstream media. Remember, the plan is not just with Clinton, Comey, Brennan. The plan involves many, many parts. The mainstream media is a part. The central bank is a part. We have the spying on Trump as a part. We have Uranium One. We have the Clinton emails. These are all separate parts. And what they're doing is they're using different parts to trap each one of these sources. And they're going to bring it together in the end. Let's just go back to Trump's tweet for a sec and see how this is all playing out. With all of the success that our country is having, including the just released job numbers, which are off the charts, the fake news and totally dishonest media concerning me and my presidency has never been worse. Many have become crazed lunatics who have given up on the truth. January 7th, the fake news media in our country is the real opposition party. It is truly the enemy of the people. We must bring honesty back to journalism and reporting. January 7th again, the fake news will knowingly lie and demean in order to make the tremendous success of the Trump administration and me look as bad as possible. They use non-existent sources and write stories that are totally fiction. Our country is doing so well, yet this is a sad day in America. January 19th, fake news is truly the enemy of the people. They're continually feeding the mainstream media fake leaks. They're trapping the mainstream media over and over and over again with fake stories. This is all being done on purpose to wake the American people up, to show that it's fake reporting. It's not real. And if you noticed, Schiff had to admit that he was leaking information. Of course, he tried to spin it, saying that, no, I was exposing, but this is part of this plan to bring down the mainstream media. This is why we're seeing layoffs right now. So now let's go to Roger Stone. White House, first of all, are leaking fake information, making the media look bad at every turn. Mueller had to admit that it was fake. The mainstream media needs to stick to their lies, but this will catch up to them. So Mueller came out and said, no, this is all fake. This is not real, which went against the mainstream media. Remember, Mueller's trying to save himself. Trump and the Patriots, they're in the process of exposing the media. Think about the raid on Roger Stone. The leak came out. The CNN reporter said he had a hunch and he was just waiting there. But everyone called him out on it and said, this is fake. You were tipped off. This is not investigative reporting. They knew exactly what was going on. And remember what Q told us in post 1842. Never interfere with an enemy while he's in the process of destroying himself. Now, Roger Stone was arrested, and we know that he has a lot of information. Q also says in post 1842, when people are arrested and they have to defend themselves, what happens? There's a discovery process. Is this a coincidence? Most likely not. And remember, Mueller is trying to save himself. The deep state already realizes that Mueller, he has nothing. There's nothing they can use from Mueller. And what's very interesting is Mueller is going after all these different individuals, going in all different directions. He's brought all these people in on lying. And you can see this is the main focus right now, that these individuals lied to the FBI or to Congress. Yes, there were other charges, but this had nothing to do with Russian collusion or even with Trump. This was their own personal problems that they had. So we can see right now, I know the mainstream media is out there pushing this, but all of this is going to be a dead end. Now, Nancy Pelosi, she is now out in the open and she's making her move. And Nancy Pelosi's been tweeting out quite a bit. January 26. At real Donald Trump's continued effort to undermine special counsel Mueller's investigation raises the questions. What does Putin have on real Donald Trump politically, personally, or financially? Why was the Trump administration continued to discuss pulling the U.S. out of NATO, which would be a massive victory for Putin? So right now, Nancy Pelosi is panicking, as you can see, trying to push the idea that Putin has something on Trump. And she's already letting us know that Mueller has been undermined already. And you can see that she is in a deep, deep panic because the Mueller investigation went absolutely nowhere. So what is she doing right now? Well, she has hired Department of Justice official Douglas Letter to be the chief legal counsel for the House. That becomes important because there are new powers granted to the House counsel. From Pelosi's House rules, we now know that Elijah Cummings will deliver the schedule for impeachment hearings before his deadline on April 15th. Speaker Pelosi is creating her own mini Department of Justice inside the legislative branch. Why? Because the Mueller report to get ahead of this before all of this comes out. So they're trying to create all these investigations, and Q has already told us that the investigations are going to move from Mueller to the House as their insurance policy. What are they going to get out of this? Nothing. So Pelosi is pushing the impeachment process. Remember Donna Brazile? She tweeted out the following, hashtag Madam Speaker today, hashtag President Pelosi shortly thereafter, hashtag MLK weekend is underway. Keep hope alive. Well, we know that Martin Luther King was assassinated. I believe this was the code of this is the beginning. You are now activated. Let's move on all this. And they're going down the impeachment path. So where does the impeachment path lead? Nowhere. Why? Let's go back to post 2604. Securing the Senate meant everything. Securing the Supreme Court meant everything. Let's go to post 2584. RE number 5, impeachment. Now, Q gave us a document which goes over the Senate impeachment roll. It takes 2/3 vote by the Senate. Who's in control of the Senate? The Patriots. We've already seen the power of the Senate. Remember, the House tried to push spending bills that did not have any wall funding? Did they pass the Senate? No. They were shot down every single time. The Patriots are in control of the Senate. So what does that mean for Pelosi if the impeachment process is going to go nowhere? It will never get through the Senate. Well, it looks like from Donna Brazil's tweet, they have many different stages of getting rid of the president. And it looks like the first stage is impeachment. The second stage might be assassination. Remember the line of succession: Trump, Pence, then Pelosi. And remember what Donna Brazil said. Well, Madam Speaker today, President Pelosi shortly thereafter. So it looks like they're following their agenda. But you need to remember the Patriots are setting all of these individuals up, and they are blocked at every turn. There's nothing they can do. And this plan that we continually talk about, it's in many different pieces. They're hitting the mainstream media very, very hard by leaking out fake information. The mainstream media is destroying themselves over and over and over again. The House, they're stuck. There's nothing they can do. They believe they have the power with all these investigations. It will lead them no place. The Senate is the firewall, and we've already seen the power of the firewall. So all of this is going as planned. Now, Trump is letting the American people know why we need the wall, how much was spent on illegals, and he's hitting the people where it counts, their wallet. He tweeted out the following: "We are not even into February, and the cost of illegal immigration so far this year is $18 billion, almost $19 billion. Cost Friday was $603 million. There are at least 25 million illegal aliens, not the 11 million that have been reported for years in our country. So ridiculous, DHS." Now, what's very interesting is when Trump continually puts out these stats, I know the mainstream media likes to counter them and fact check them and show that he's completely wrong. But think about what he's doing and what they're doing. They don't even know it. So when Trump puts this out there and he says, we're not even into February and the cost of illegal immigration so far this year is almost $19 billion. Yes, the mainstream media might come and say, no, we've only spent $12 billion. Let's just use that number. We still spent $12 billion compared to the $5.7 billion that he wants for the wall. It still shows that we're spending a huge amount of money on people who entered this country illegally. Even if they say, well, it's not 25 million illegal aliens, it's only 20 million illegal aliens. There's 20 million illegal aliens in this country. The mainstream media believes, oh, look, we just put one on over on Trump there and we corrected his numbers. No, what they did was they put the numbers out there, and most likely theirs is wrong and his is right, but it still shows that it's ridiculous. And that's what is getting out there, and people are starting to wake up. Now, Trump is going directly at Schumer right now. Trump tweeted out, "Build wall and crime will fall," and showed this video, which shows that Israel built this wall, and it's 99.9% effective in keeping people out.
Trump is beating him at their own game, setting out the false narrative, and it's being blown up by the media. He's going after Schumer, going after Pelosi. All these things are going to fail. He is controlling these things as a true puppet master in every way, and they will not succeed. So here's the video. Build the wall, crime will fall. President Trump reveals new slogan for border wall.
America Great Again may soon be a thing of the past. The president is now focusing on a new rhyming slogan, and here it is. Build a wall and crime will fall. President Trump debuted the new phrase for the Republican Party on Wednesday. He tweeted it twice, along with a message saying, in part, "This is the new theme for 2 years until the wall is finished. Use it and pray." The dispute over the wall funding has, of course, caused the partial government shutdown that has lasted more than a month now.
There you are. Build a wall, crime will fall.